So let's let's dive into this idea that happens to all of us when it comes to content needs to be perfect. And what I'm talking about here is the anxiety and depression that hits me in the most weird form of it has to be perfect and I'm going to delay everything I do because it has to be perfect. This is so detrimental and so incredibly just withholding. Like, this holds you back from so much that you need to have the look, the feel, everything perfect in order to actually make your content. This is something I'm still struggling with, which is why I'm doing this segment completely uncut, unedited, all that, because it's this idea that my content has to be perfect and that I can't just be a candid person is insane. And what's making me want to talk about this is I've actually had a few people reach out to me. And what they say to me is, I try to go live and every time I try to go live, I feel like I'm missing something and there's something not right. Or, there's various reasons, but this one thing, and it always comes up of, I'm not comfortable with how my stream or my videos look. I feel like I'm not where it needs to be. And guess what? Mine's not perfect. And I had to remind myself every day that it doesn't need to look perfect. It doesn't need to sound perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. Perfection is something you'll chase all the time and you're never going to reach it, because here's the thing, this is an artist mentality, is that you want every piece of your art to be perfect, and there's never going to be such a thing, because art is never perfect. Art is completely subjective. Perfection is in the eye of the beholder. So the fact that you're chasing perfection when it cannot exist in a subjective environment is insane. There is no perfection. And anytime you're trying to chase, well, it needs to be perfect, you're holding yourself back. You're making an excuse. There is no such thing as perfect. Sometimes you got to just do and just try. You have to try. And it's something I'm still learning, is particularly when it comes to YouTube videos. It's the one thing I want to do, and I've been holding myself back because of my anxiety, my fear that it's not going to come across right. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to keep people's attention. Guess what? There are so many YouTubers out there who will say that you will not figure out how to do YouTube until you've done 100 videos. And that is their honest experience when it comes to trying to be perfect and put out the perfect product. And they say you don't figure it out until you've done like 100 videos. So really what they're saying with this, it's not that you have to do 100 videos to be successful. Far from it. Far from it. You have to do 100 videos. There's no set number. It is a matter of you need to practice the craft. Just like everything, in order to really develop and really actually be able to bring your content to where you want it to be, you have to practice it. Just like playing a musical instrument, playing a sport, the only way to get better at it is to practice. And so it's no different. I mean, you have to be able to do, the live stream. You have to live stream in order to get better at it. You have to understand and pay attention to what works, what doesn't, what do you feel comfortable with, what do you not feel comfortable with. And you have to figure out those boundaries. The only way to know those boundaries is to actually do. And a lot of times we let our depression, our anxiety, all these little doubts we tell ourselves from pursuing that. And a lot of people will then, once they've done a certain part of it, they've done the live streaming, they hit the go live, they got used to that. But now it's a matter of they just got into a comfort zone. And not always is that comfort zone going to be productive. I see a lot of people who will chase the numbers, chase the numbers. I need this many followers to beat an algorithm. I need this many reactions in order to be seen. You know, it's everybody's always looking to beat an algorithm. And that's not where we need to be, especially when you're with when you have depression and anxiety. Beating an algorithm does nothing for you because you've gotten to a comfort zone on what your content you think is going to work. But the thing is, you need to always be challenging yourself. You always need to be moving outside that comfort zone. You need to be pushing beyond. And not only is this good for your content and for what you're making, but this is actually good for you in real life and battling your anxieties and depressions, constantly pushing yourself into new directions, making yourself uncomfortable, but still driving forward. It's huge. It's a thing that needs to happen and you need to do, because what you're going to help wind up teaching yourself is not only does my content need to keep going and keep pushing forward, but I do. What we wind up doing with depression and anxiety is we get into a very comfortable space, and we tend to want to stay in that comfortable space because it's familiar. We know what to expect. We can predict. We can predict what's going to happen, and we like that prediction. We like to know what's going to happen because then it makes planning the worst case scenario much easier. And when you stay in that comfort zone and when you aren't pushing yourself out, you're leaving yourself subject to letting depression and anxiety take the wheel again. And they will. For me, what that turns into is I don't like to go outside the house. I don't like to go and interact with the real world. I don't like to engage with other people out there because it's unpredictable. I'm not used to it. It's unfamiliar. And what I've been doing with the stream and trying to, interact with people and be comfortable being myself in front of a camera, but also having to be candid and hold conversations, not basic chit chat, but entire conversations. Doing that is actually translating into my real life. I'm able to take what I'm learning and doing my live stream and apply it out there. And so I'm now able to move a little bit beyond just the small chit chat, and I'm starting to be able to engage in actual conversation a little bit easier. It's still uncomfortable. Yes, it is incredibly uncomfortable, but I'm moving beyond. And that's how it is with your content. It is, if you stay stagnant and you stay in the comfort zone, there's not going to be anything new. There's not going to be anything of value. There's not going to be any progress. There's not going to be any discovery. There's not going to be really anything. And that's what you need to do, is you need to be able to push yourself. Be uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is okay. Not being okay is okay. I mean, it's something I'm going to preach. It's okay to not be okay. But you have to drive forward. If you're not driving forward, if you're not pushing yourself beyond the comfort zone, you're going to stay in this bubble and you're not going to grow as a person. You're not going to find ways to be a better you. And that's one of the things you've got to do with depression and anxiety, is move beyond, be a better you. But when it comes to your content, it's even more important, because if you're not pushing yourself forward, if you're not driving yourself forward and outside of that comfort zone and going out into the real world of everything with your content, getting out there and exposing yourself, essentially making yourself vulnerable in some way, shape, or form, you're not going to learn. The only way to get better and the only way to really get discovered and really create an engaging community is to get out of your comfort zone. Be uncomfortable, keep moving forward. It is incredibly difficult. God knows I struggle with it so much sometimes. But I also understand that if I don't take risks, if I don't experiment, if I don't evolve, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna go where I want. The numbers are not gonna do anything. Getting 10,000 followers will mean nothing if I don't have an engaged community. If I don't have that connection, and if I'm not growing my community and bringing people in and finding new ways to connect with people. That's what you've got to do. It's not about maybe engaging in conversation, but finding ways to connect with others. You don't have to actually speak to somebody to connect with them. I'm realizing that. That's why another reason why I do these videos is because I'm realizing I can connect with other people outside of actually doing a live stream or going out in the real world. I can still connect with you by evolving, by coming out of my comfort zone and doing something different. And the thing is, I'm not looking for perfection. I absolutely stopped looking for perfection. And when you stop looking for perfection is when you start being able to move and get out and do what you want to do. Just remember that just like everything, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes practice. You're not going to be perfect on your first go. You're not going to be perfect on your millionth go. You know why? Because there's no such thing as perfect in an art form. This is what it is. It's an art form. It's a medium. It's an information exchange of some sort. There's no perfection to it. And you don't need the best equipment to make it work. You don't need the best anything. You just need to have an idea. You need to run with it. You need to evolve with it. You need to experiment with it. And you need to grow with it. So don't stop chasing perfection, everyone. Perfection is just it's a red herring. It's imaginary. There is no perfection that needs to be done. All that needs to be done is growth. Personal growth for you, personal achievement for you. Take the small things and run with them. Have a good time with the small things. Enjoy the small things, because if you do grow beyond the small things, you're going to miss the small things. But, don't let depression and anxiety tell you that you have to be perfect, that your product has to be this perfect thing in an imperfect form. There is no perfection. It's going to be okay. I mean, the point of it all is to evolve and to be better. To evolve. Don't let depression and anxiety tell you you have to be perfect to evolve. No one's perfect. Don't ever try to be perfect. But evolve. Grow. Do the things that your anxiety and depression stop you from doing. Tell it no. I don't need to be perfect. I'm okay being imperfect. I'm okay with just being me. Take that, run with it. Evolve. Take your content in unknown, unforetold areas. Be something different. Continue to grow yourself. Continue to grow to your content. I believe in you, just like I'm trying to believe in myself. We all have to keep evolving and changing. Life is just a big metamorphosis. The world is our cocoon. So don't stop growing, don't stop changing, don't stop learning, don't stop evolving. It's gonna be okay. Take the step into being uncomfortable. I guarantee you're gonna like what you find.